Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be deep diving into the world of AI-powered app development.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, we found this super interesting YouTube video where a developer builds like 4 working web apps.
Thor.
4, all with the help of this AI called Claude 3.7. And get this, he even integrates things like Superbase for user logins and Stripe for payments, all just with AI.
Wow, so like the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, it's really wild to see how fast these apps come together.
hmm
I mean, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, this is a great example of just how fast this technology is moving forward. We're seeing AI go from something that used to be super complex and specialized to tools that anyone can use.
Right. Even people with like zero coding experience could probably make something cool with this. Okay, so let's actually break down what this developer built.
Right.
So he starts with a super simple landing page. You know, the kind you might see for like a new product or service?
Right.
The thing that's amazing is that he just gives Claude 3.7 a prompt, like just describing what he wants.
Okay.
He says he wants Superbase for user logins, Stripe to sell a $1 digital product, even like specific design stuff. And boom, the AI just generates the code like instantly. So much faster than a person could.
I see. So the real value here is like the time and cost savings, right?
Right. Think about it. If you're like a small business owner and you have an idea, you could just whip up a website in an afternoon.
Instead of spending weeks learning to code or paying someone else to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which could be huge for like getting your idea off the ground quickly. And you know, he doesn't skip on the details either. Like he's very specific.
Okay.
He says like, quote, I want the landing page to have a clean, modern look with sections explaining the benefits of the product.
Mm,
Of course, he needs a clear call to action to get people to buy the thing.
right.
And he even tests the Stripe integration live in the video.
Oh, wow.
Like $1 pops into his Stripe account right there on screen.
That's awesome. Can you remind me what Superbase is again?
Oh yeah, so Superbase is like a platform that lets you build all the back-end stuff for your app,
Yeah.
like user databases and all that, but you don't have to write a bunch of code to do it.
So it's like a no-code backend solution.
Exactly. And Stripe, I'm sure most people listening know, is how you do online payments.
Mm.
I think the fact that Claude 3.7 can just integrate all this stuff into the code it creates just shows how powerful these AI models are getting.
Yeah. I mean, being able to put all those pieces together seamlessly is no joke.
Totally. Okay,
Yeah.
so landing page, check. Now he moves on and builds an AI image generator app.
Ooh, fun.
And this is where things get really interesting. Users can type in like any prompt to create an image, and they have to like buy credits to use the app.
I see. So it's like those AI image generators that have been blowing up recently, but he's making his own.
Exactly. And I think it's really cool that Claude 3.7 basically makes building this kind of app way easier. Like now anyone can do it.
It definitely opens up a lot of possibilities.
Oh, and the example he uses in the video is hilarious. He
Ew.
makes an image of Donald Trump,
Uh-huh. Okay.
but as a baby.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to lie, it's a little creepy, but it definitely shows what's possible.
Yeah.
And the developer actually shows how the app like automatically takes away credits from the user when they generate an image.
Smart. So he even figured out how to monetize it.
Right. From a technical side, he's using something called Flux for the actual image generation. Have you heard of that?
I have, yeah. It's
Yeah.
one of the many AI image models out there. What's he using for the user data and stuff?
Superbase again, to like store the data and keep track of those credits.
Smart.
Yeah, it's a clever setup, and it shows how you can combine all these different tools to make something unique.
Like different AI tools and existing technologies, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so app number 3 is super cool. It's an image-to-image tool.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's like you draw something on one side of the screen, and then the AI takes that drawing and generates a totally different image in a new style on the other side.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
It's like turning your doodles into like digital masterpieces.
That's a really cool use of AI.
Totally. And it really shows how
Hmm.
AI can unlock all this creative potential in ways that we probably haven't even thought of yet.
I mean, even if you can't draw, you could just make a rough sketch and let the AI do the rest.
Right. Like it's like having your own personal AI artist.
That's a great way to put it.
He does run into a bit of a problem with this app, though.
Uh-oh.
It turns out the AI model didn't really know what to do with transparent backgrounds in the drawings.
Huh.
But he's a good developer, so he figures out a workaround.
Okay.
He adds some code that just puts a white background behind the drawing before sending it to the AI.
That's a smart solution.
Problem solved.
Yeah, that kind of problem solving is super important when you're working with AI. You got to be able to think on your feet and adapt because these tools are always changing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, are you ready for the grand finale? App number 4,
Hit me.
AI video generation.
Whoa.
Yeah. which still kind of feels like science fiction to me, to be honest. But he pulls it off using a model called min-max. And basically, it can take a still image and animate it based on like a text prompt that you give it.
Oh, wow. I mean, AI video generation is still super early days, but the progress that's being made is incredible.
I know, it's mind-blowing. So the example he uses is, well, he uploads this picture of two guys just standing there
Mm-hmm.
and then types in the prompt, karate fight.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And the AI spits out this like super janky video
Uh-huh.
of the two guys kind of flailing around like they're trying to do karate.
Amazing.
It's hilarious. And obviously not like, Hollywood special effects or anything, but it gives you a glimpse of what's possible. What we could be doing even a few years from now.
Yeah, it's important to remember that these early AI-generated videos aren't going to be perfect.
Yeah.
But the fact that we can even get something that's remotely close to realistic at this stage is insane. Just imagine what things will look like a few years down the line when the technology gets better.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you probably won't even be able to tell the difference between AI-generated videos and like real ones.
Exactly. Okay, so before we all run off and become AI video directors, there are a few things to keep in mind.
Always a catch, right?
The developer really stresses that these apps, although they're functional, they're not ready to be released to the public. He specifically mentions that they need way stronger security measures, especially if you're handling sensitive user data or, anything to do with money.
Yeah. True. Makes sense. You wouldn't want your app to get hacked?
Security should always be the top priority, no matter how cool your app is.
Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like even though these apps are fairly simple, they offer a really exciting look into the future of app development.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we're talking about building an app in a few hours that just a few years ago would have taken weeks or months.
And potentially like profitable apps too.
Yeah, this has the potential to totally change app development, give anyone the power to create things that they couldn't before.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What app would you build if you had access to these tools?
Good question. That's something to think about.
We're going to dive even deeper into this stuff, get into more of the technical details and limitations of these AI tools in part 2 of our deep dive, so make sure to stick around.
Looking forward to it.
All right, welcome back. Last time we were geeking out about all these awesome AI-powered apps. Do you remember what that platform was called that the developer was using to make those apps?
Was it Cursor?
Cursor. That's one.
Yeah.
I wanted to go a little deeper into that because it seems like it's more than just a text editor or something.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Cursor is really interesting because it's designed specifically for working with these, well, they're called large language models, like Claude 3.7. And it makes the whole process of interacting with the AI way more intuitive.
So, how does it do that?
Well, imagine trying to, explain your whole app idea to the AI in one giant prompt. Every single feature in detail. It would be a mess.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare to write, and probably a nightmare for the AI to understand.
Exactly. So what Cursor does is it lets you break the process down. You give the AI instructions kind of step by step, and then you can see the code it generates, make tweaks, ask for clarification. It's a much more collaborative back and forth process.
So instead of just crossing your fingers and hoping the AI gets it right,
Yeah.
you can actually work with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like pair programming, but your partner is this super intelligent AI.
That's so cool. And I feel like that's going to be huge moving forward. Like the idea of working with AI instead of just, giving it commands.
Absolutely. And the developer in the video actually talks about that. He thinks that future versions of Cursor might even be able to incorporate features from other AI models.
Oh, wow. So combining the strengths of different AIs.
Right. Imagine if you could get the code generation power of Claude 3.7, but also the problem-solving abilities of another model. I mean, the possibilities are pretty much endless.
That's insane. Okay, so there was another thing I wanted to ask about. The developer kept mentioning this technique called indexing with Cursor.
Oh, yeah, indexing. That's a good one.
I have no idea what it means, though.
Okay, so basically it's about giving the AI as much context as possible before it starts generating code. Think about it. If you were working on a big, complex project, you wouldn't want someone to just jump in without understanding how it all works,
Yeah,
right?
definitely not. They'd probably break something.
Exactly. So with indexing, you're basically giving the AI access to all the important stuff up front, like the project documentation, the environment files, any code that's already been written.
I see. So it's like giving the AI a crash course on the project.
Right. And by doing that, you can really make sure that the AI is generating code that's actually useful and relevant, instead of going off in a tangent or something.
Makes sense. So you're not just throwing the AI into the deep end and hoping for the best,
Exactly. It's more like you're giving it the tools and information it needs to succeed.
which makes a lot of sense. All right, so at the end of the video, the developer gives everyone this challenge. He says, come up with your own app idea and see what you can build using AI. He even suggests letting Claude 3.7 come up with app ideas itself.
Imagine that, an AI that could not only build apps but also come up with the ideas for them. I mean, talk about a creative partner.
It would be pretty crazy. Like, I could totally see that being a thing in the future.
Uh-huh.
You just sit down with your AI and brainstorm app ideas.
Yeah, it would definitely make things a lot easier.
But we're not there yet. And the developer really stresses that these apps, as cool as they are, aren't exactly ready for prime time.
Yeah, he was super adamant about that.
Especially the security stuff. Like, he says don't even think about releasing these apps without making sure they're secure, especially if you're handling user data or payments or anything like that.
Absolutely. That's something that can't be overlooked no matter how excited you get about building cool stuff.
I was thinking about it, and it kind of feels like building apps with AI is like having this superpower.
In what way?
Like, you can do things so much faster than before, make these really cool apps, but you also have this responsibility to make sure you're not, accidentally releasing something dangerous into the world.
Oh, I totally agree. It's like with any new technology, there's this huge potential for good, but also the potential for misuse. So we have to be really careful and thoughtful about how we use it.
That's a great point. All right, so we've seen how these apps are made using Cursor, talked about the responsibility that comes with building things with AI. Now, how about we get under the hood and see how these AI models actually work? Like, how do they go from a simple text prompt to lines of code? It still feels like magic to me.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. And that's exactly what we'll be exploring in the final part of our deep dive.
Welcome back, everyone. So we've seen these awesome AI-powered apps, right? We've talked about the tools like Cursor, but now I want to get into, like, the real nitty-gritty, the techie stuff. Like, how do these AI models actually take our words and turn them into working code?
You're talking about the process of code generation. It is pretty mind-blowing.
It really is. It's like, almost feels like magic. But obviously there's some serious technology going on behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah. Tons of complex stuff happening. But one of the core concepts here is something called natural language processing, NLP for short.
Okay, NLP, I've heard of that, but I'll be honest, I don't really get it. What is that in a nutshell?
Well, think about how we communicate as humans. We use words, grammar, context. It's complicated, right?
Yeah.
NLP is basically how computers are able to understand and interpret all of that messy human language. Like, it allows computers to make sense of our words and figure out what we mean, even if we're not being super precise.
So when the developer in that video types out a prompt for Claude 3.7, it's NLP that allows the AI to understand where he wants. Like, it's actually reading the prompt and figuring it out.
That's exactly it. And what's even cooler is that models like Claude 3.7 are trained on these massive amounts of text and code, like truly enormous amounts of data. And through this training, they learn to recognize patterns, they learn programming syntax, they even start to predict what code is needed to achieve certain goals.
That's insane. So it's like the AI has read every programming book ever written and can just pull from all that knowledge.
Uh-huh. In a way, yeah. It's like it has this huge library of coding knowledge stored in its digital brain. But, it's still important for the developer to give clear instructions and provide context.
Right. So it's not just like, hey, AI, build me an app.
Nope, not quite that simple. You've got to be specific about the features, the technologies, the look and feel. The more information the AI gets, the better the results will be.
Makes sense. So it's really more of a collaboration between the developer and the AI. They're both working together to create something cool.
Definitely. It's a partnership. But we got to be realistic. These AI models are amazing, but they're not perfect. They can still make mistakes. They might misinterpret instructions or generate code that's not completely optimized.
Yeah, in the video, the developer talked about having to tweak some of the AI's code, right?
Yeah. Right. He had to add some SQL code to Superbase to manage how the images and videos were being stored, stuff like that.
And just to remind everyone, SQL is a language for managing databases, which are essential for, like, storing and organizing all the data in an app.
Exactly. So even though the AI can do a lot of the heavy lifting, a human developer is still needed to refine things and make sure everything works perfectly.
So it's like the AI gives you a rough draft, and you come in and polish it up.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And of course, there's always the security aspect. Like the developer emphasized, these AI-generated apps aren't ready to just be released into the wild without some serious security measures in place. especially if you're handling sensitive data or dealing with payments.
Yeah, that's a huge responsibility.
Right.
You don't want to create something cool and then have it turn out to be, a security nightmare.
Exactly. So even though the future of AI development is really exciting, it's important to approach it with, a good dose of caution and responsibility.
Totally agree. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground here today. We've seen some incredible apps. We've talked about the tools and the technology. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling super inspired.
Me too. It's clear that AI is going to have a huge impact on how we build software in the future. And it's going to be fascinating to see where things go from here.
I can't wait to see what people create. Well, that's it for this deep dive into the world of AI app development. We hope you learned something new. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that creative spark alive.